Okay guys, so rod selection is a big critical deal when learning to twitch. Okay, this is something you guys taught me, and now I've actually used about 9 different lengths and found that I still feel the length that I kind of started with is my favorite. Maybe it's because that's what I started with. But the rod we're using here today is a 9'2" Lama Glass Infinity rod. Okay, this rod is an 8 to 15. It works really, really well. It's got a soft, fast tip, but it's got plenty of backbone if you got to pull these fish out of the fast water. But the nice thing about the length, you can actually get it somewhere, right?
Absolutely. You know, being a bank angler, having a little longer rod is definitely an advantage, so that you can cast farther from the bank. You keep your rod tip high whenever you're twitching over current into dead water from the bank in a fixed position.
Perfect. Now, the rod that everybody always kind of really talks about twitching is the 7'11" rod. Okay, so I have one here. This is the Lama Glass. They used to be called the Twitch, but it's Infinity. Okay, so this rod right here is what everybody thinks you have to twitch with. An 8-foot rod, one piece. That's the twitch rod. Okay, what do you think about this?
I personally, not a fan at all of the short rods. Real big reason is you can't really feel what's going on with your jig. You can't tell if you rubbed the stick. You can't tell how quickly it sank. You can't feed slack. You can't cast over current. It severely, in my eyes, limits you on where you can fish and how you can fish. That's why I prefer a much longer rod that has great action all the way to the tip, not a really, really stiff rod where you can't actually feel what's going on in your fishing.
Perfect, and that's what I gotta say too is when I started guiding, I had both the 7'11" and the 9'2" rods. What I noticed with people that don't have the best fishing experience, they're not seasoned yet on how to cast. That 9'2" allowed them to make the effortless cast without having to power it in there. Okay, so people actually got that cast where they needed to be without having to really try at it. The 7'11" rod is more the bass fisherman's mentality, where you gotta freaking smoke it.
Yeah, freaking smoke it.
Okay? It takes a lot of power. Most people that don't bass fish or short rod fish or steelhead don't get that. So that's why I like a 9-foot-ish rod. Okay, we did bring another rod out here today. I want to talk a little bit about. This is actually the rod they use for bobber dogging. Okay, this is the Lama Glass SI, 9'8", 8 to 12. This rod I have done just a minor little bit of twitch with it. It actually works pretty nice. Now, for the person that wants a longer rod, it's probably the person that's bank fishing on a larger body of water. Yeah, I'm talking like, a Skagit size, a Cowlitz size, Clackamas River size, Sandy River size. So you can actually get to the spots with your jig, okay, without having to put a 3/4 ounce jig on and defeat the whole purpose of the twitch, okay? So I think a longer rod for some people might be very critical for them being effective.
I think also fishing from the boat even, I'm with Jared Cady on this, is that the shorter rod just really kind of inhibits you on what you can do from a boat, from the bank. I think it was designed, I think it's come from bass fishermen because of its short rod design, and bass fishermen are generally pretty close when they're flipping in, and I think that's where it was adopted from. But I think it really limits you on line control, twitch. I mean, pretty much every aspect of twitching is kind of inhibited by a shorter rod.
And I'll definitely say is with clients with fishing both rods, if I give them that 7'11", they're going to make 20% of the cast that they need to make. I give them a 9'2" rod and they maybe fish 2 or 3 times in their life, they're going to make probably 50% of the cast they need to make. So that's a big deal. It's a big step. That is going to make them be more successful because they're going to be more in the strike zone.
Agreed. Absolutely. One last sense is that shorter rods in a boat, what if a fish goes under your boat? You don't have the length to pull the fish out from under the boat. Fish off. Yep. We're trying to all catch fish. Having a longer rod allows you to handle that fish much better than a short rod.
Now, definitely being in a boat, though, you do have to watch out for the overhead. Being a longer rod, you go up here to cast, watch out for all the tree limbs. I'm not saying that 9'2" rod is the only rod to use, but if you're going to be in a boat and you're moving down the river, take a scan of what you're going to be casting at and where your back cast is at. So I always tell my guys that every single cast, guys, watch your back cast. You come up here and you hit the tree, you're breaking off your rod tip or you're breaking off your jig. So